Meet the two-sport athletes. When taking up one sport just isn't enough, a second one is chosen to simply give it a go, make it a regular sport on the side, or even master altogether. Most of the time, the second sport is ditched when it's clear it's going nowhere. But there are a select few who've mastered both, and an even smaller group who've been pretty good at more. But no matter how many sports you hide behind, there's no hiding from the truth. Some people are naturally gifted and good at anything they try. Celebrities like Justin Timberlake or Hugh Jackman can sing, dance, act, and probably everything else. And some went from acting into politics.
For the people to win, politics as usual must lose.
Sport is no different, and the first person to successfully become a master of many trades is Native American legend Jim Thorpe. As an Olympian, Thorpe demolished the field on his way to winning gold in both the decathlon and pentathlon at the 1912 Stockholm Summer Games. And while he ended up playing professional baseball, batting .252 in a 6-year big league career, it was in football where he truly dominated. Thorpe played for 6 NFL teams between 1920 and 1928, retiring at age 41, a 2-time All-American. He was rewarded for all his impressive work in 1963, when he became an original inductee into the Football Hall of Fame. Post-football, Thorpe developed a drinking habit that left him struggling to make ends meet, despite appearing in more than 60 films. But he finally found purpose in life in his role as an advocate for Native American rights. And after the Associated Press named him the greatest athlete of the first half of the 20th century in 1950, in 1951, he was portrayed by Burt Lancaster in the film Jim Thorpe, All-American. Thorpe died of a heart attack in 1953 at his trailer home in California. But his body was moved to an eastern Pennsylvania community that renamed itself Jim Thorpe in exchange for housing his remains. Coming up, when wheels aren't enough. For many people, retirement is anything but sitting still. There are those who give synchronized swimming a go.
We have a lot of them with arthritis, and we have a lot of them with hip problems. Some of them come in with wheelchairs, some of them come in with walkers. But once they get in that water, you could never tell.
Others find retirement refuge in a local gym, keeping physically fit while in the comfy confines of a, well, pink room. For one race car driver, retirement has given him a chance to turn pastimes into newfound professional endeavors. There once was a time when Mark Webber lived and breathed Formula One. His impact on the F1 circuit was immediate. At his 2002 debut on home soil, Webber overcame tremendous odds in making something out of nothing.
So the race started. There's a massive accident, the first corner. All I see on the screen is two Minardis going through. Well, first of all, we had the news that Mark's car was terminal, but as the race developed, Mark's up into 5th place. With 5 laps to go, you're starting to pray, you're starting to think, can this car get home?
Starting in 18th position, the Australian battled a broken differential to weave his way to an improbable 5th place finish.
Got the car to the end, and the response and the reaction from the crowd was obviously very unique.
The whole of Albert Park has come to the pit lane. It was just one of those crazy moments in Formula One that will go down in history. And, you know, what a way to start your Formula One career.
Webber made 214 more Formula One starts in an 11-year career that saw him take home 9 wins, 42 podiums, 13 pole positions, and 19 fastest laps.
The other thing that struck me about Mark at the time was he was one of those men for whom Formula One was a passion. It wasn't just a nice thing, I'll do when I'm young and make some money. He was very passionate about it.
But he had a little hobby on the side he was also passionate about. Having organised a 10-day trek across Tasmania for charity back in 2003, it eventually transformed into the Mark Webber Pure Tasmania Challenge, an adventure race that has attracted some of the fittest and famous, including Kylie Minogue, Kathy Freeman, and Joel Edgerton.
Racing on mountain bikes, you know, on foot, and get the kayaks out. You know, there's no one that's really comfortable with all those disciplines. You need to obviously, you know, train and get ready for those. And if you're not, then you learn a huge amount as well about how you can do better in those sports. I know that people that come down and do the challenge that are new to that sort of stuff, they really do grab it and embrace it, and they go on and, you know, do that in their private life for their own hobbies, and that's great to see.
But Webber couldn't turn his back on racing entirely, and so shortly after his F1 career, he took up sports car racing, albeit it hasn't been an entirely smooth transition. Take the 2014 World Endurance Championship season finale, where Webber's Porsche collided with the Ferrari of Matteo Cressoni. Fortunately for him, he came out of the crash shaken, but not seriously injured. Despite the danger of being a race car driver, the thrill that comes with sitting behind the wheel of the fastest cars on Earth is too intoxicating to let go.
I can remember the first time, you know, the vibrations through my ass cheeks. I can remember the smell of the fuel, you know, the engine, the vibrations, the directness. You just absolutely love it. It's exhilarating. You don't want to come back into the pits.
Mark Webber will always be a multi-sport man. Because whether it's on 4 wheels or even 2 wheels, once a racer, always a racer. If Mark Webber went from the 4 wheels of car racing to the 2 wheels of mountain biking, there is one illustrious Olympian that went the other way. Sir Christopher Andrew Hoy is the most decorated Olympic cyclist of all time. The Glasgow, Scotland native won 6 gold medals and 1 silver over 4 Summer Olympic Games, including 3 won at the Beijing Games in 2008, making him Scotland's most successful Olympian. His final appearance on sport's biggest stage took place in his own backyard. At the London Games in 2012, Hoy took home 2 gold medals, including in the Keirin, where he surpassed Sir Steve Redgrave and became the most successful British Olympian ever.
It's the emotion, it's the physical effort, it's just the excitement. It's incredibly draining, but the relief and the delight when you cross the line and you hear that roar. You know, I had my eyes shut when I threw the bike across the line because I wasn't sure if I had it or not, and then I heard this roar from the crowd and realised that I'd won. It's hard to express just how amazing that experience was, but yeah, I think it showed when I got on the podium, and I wasn't really able to hold it all in, but what an experience that was.
It was a fitting way for Hoy to end his Olympic career, and 1 year later, he ended his competitive cycling career altogether. But the man who took up cycling after watching the movie E.T. had no intention of becoming a couch potato, and instead traded his bike for something faster. A Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3. Hoy joined the British GT Championship in 2014 with the goal of racing in Le Mans. And in 2015, he was back to his winning ways. Winning the first round of the 2015 European Le Mans Series at Silverstone, Hoy and teammate Charlie Robertson won 2 more races in the series LMP3 class, clinching them the class title. Hoy has become a Sir and even has a velodrome built in his name. Who knows if the man known as Medals Ahoy will have the same success on 4 wheels.
Chris Hoy wasn't the only big-name Team GB cyclist to call it a career after London 2012. Victoria Pendleton is a former Olympic, European and Commonwealth champion, having won gold at every level. A commander of the Order of the British Empire for services to cycling, Pendleton retired from professional racing following her 2012 London Olympic silver medal in her beloved individual sprint competition, an event she dominated between 2005 and 2012. And she couldn't have been happier to walk away.
I would never do it again, and it's just, I've enjoyed my success. I've had a fantastic career, but it's been hard. It doesn't come easy. You don't turn up at World Championships and pick up gold medals without sacrificing everything.
Soon, Britain's queen of the cycling track was spotted at glitzy fashion shows and glamorous car launches, happy to do anything but cycle.
I'm looking forward to start playing golf and getting some tennis lessons and all the things I've been banned from so many years. So this is the start of the beginning of a new type of training for me.
And that new type of training led to her participating in a speed sport different to anything Mark Webber or Chris Hoy had ever done. National hunt racing, or the racing where horses are required to jump over fences and ditches.
I appreciate it's not a decision that should be taken lightly. National hunt racing is extremely dangerous sport. There are lots of risks involved, but I feel that I'm capable of lining up and being part of that race.
In March 2016, the cyclist turned jockey raced in the fox hunter chase at Cheltenham, finishing a remarkable 5th, and leading her to confess, despite all the international cycling medals, it's probably the greatest achievement of my life. After the break, the dual lives of footballers. Cricket is a sport where the last thing you want to be doing is kicking the rock-hard cricket ball. Football is a sport where kicking a ball is almost all you do. Despite the differences between the two, there are some athletes who have shined in both. When it comes to brothers, Phil and Gary Neville are inseparable. While growing up in Manchester, the pair picked up a cricket bat and ball and became instantly great at it, with Phil a contemporary of England all-rounder Andrew Flintoff in Lancashire's under-19 side, even captaining England's under-15 team. But where they both really excelled was in football. As part of Fergie's fledglings, the 6 young guns who graduated from Manchester United's youth team, Gary and Phil went on to achieve unparalleled success while with the Red Devils. Between 1995 and 2004, the brothers won 6 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, 3 Community Shields, a UEFA Champions League, and an Intercontinental Cup. They've since gone on to work as television pundits and walk the red carpet to honour the class of '92 in a documentary Gary thought of himself.
There was lots of suggestions, but Gary, probably this was his brainchild. Let's do a documentary or a movie, and we got speaking about it, and the ball just started rolling from there, and we had great fun making it.
They even ended up coaching together in Spain with Valencia, where Gary revealed his philosophy of sport that probably made him so good at both football and cricket.
You just have to work hard every single minute of every single day, and you have to die on that pitch as a football player. That's my belief. You die on that pitch. You give everything that you absolutely can. That's my expectation in every single game.
Gary has hinted he's thinking of playing cricket again on Twitter. But despite their talents as cricketers, clearly the brothers' greatest sporting moments were with their hometown club. Australian Ellyse Perry was anything but your normal 16-year-old.
When I was 16 years old and I found out that I was selected in the Australian cricket team, and then a couple of weeks later in the Australian soccer team, they're moments that I'll always remember forever. The focus on winning and achieving is always about the team. If you're not quite there, there's always someone that's willing and able to take your place.
So how does this dynamic Sydney native juggle the two sports?
She can be training for both sports at the same time and playing games on the same weekend.
Often I'll play a match of cricket and then a match of soccer in concurrent days. I just always really enjoyed being active and being involved in different teams and playing different sports.
However, it was inevitable that the two sports would take a toll on her body, having battled injuries in the past.
Hopefully she's realised now, she's not invincible. I think when you're younger you think you can do everything, but as you get older your body starts to fail you. It's almost like you split and then you're in that position. Yeah. Whether she continues to play both sports up until mid-20s, that's really up to her. I think it allows her to be the person that she is, and I think if she wasn't playing soccer she'd be maybe someone different.
Perry has carried on playing cricket for her nation, even being named Australian Women's Cricketer of the Year for 2016. However, despite scoring 3 international goals for the Matildas as a defender, including a tally against Sweden at the 2011 World Cup, she was omitted for a brief period by controversial former head coach Hesterine de Royce because of her dual commitments. De Royce has since been sacked, but the commitments have become 3 for Perry. In December 2015, she married Australian rugby player Matt Tamua. New Zealander Sonny Bill Williams came from a humble home in Auckland with dreams of becoming a professional rugby player. But he became more than that. Rather, SBW developed into an athletic force and earned a place with the All Blacks in 2010. He played a bit role in the team's 2011 World Cup victory, and after spending time playing rugby league, he was back with the All Blacks in a 2014 friendly against the USA.
I'm just glad doing what I'm doing at the moment and loving being back in the black jersey. I forgot how much I missed it, just being able to pick it up and feel it today. Even had a little sniff of it, so it's awesome to be back and hopefully just keep working hard and stay on that grind and hopefully get to put on that jersey again.
He succeeded in putting that jersey on again and again on his way to a second Rugby World Cup in 2015, where he played a more prominent role in defending their 2011 title.
I knew that I'd been playing some really good footy this tournament, and I knew that I was going to get a bit of game time tonight. But I just wanted to go out there and do what I've been doing all tournament, just have a go and back myself.
That confidence has also been present in his other sport of choice, boxing. Between his heavyweight debut in 2009 and 2015, Williams was able to hammer out an undefeated record of 7 wins and no losses, scoring 3 of those victories by knockout. But despite him claiming that boxing makes him a tougher athlete, there's no question it's rugby where his loyalty lies. If Sonny Bill Williams chooses boxing as a sport on the side, there is one boxer who has basketball as his second sport of choice. Manny Pacquiao is a Filipino dream, having become an 8-division boxing champion as well as a congressman and actor. He's also dabbled with professional basketball, having been drafted by the Mahindra Enforcers of the Philippine Basketball Association in 2014, making him the oldest rookie, the shortest player, and only dual sport athlete in the league. It's safe to say that big Tim Duncan of the San Antonio Spurs is a much better baller than Manny. But basketball wasn't his first sport. Rather, it was swimming. However, his attempt to make the 1992 Olympic Games in the US Virgin Islands came to a thunderous halt when Hurricane Hugo took out his town's only Olympic-sized pool. We all know that Michael Jordan took time off from ruling the NBA to play baseball, but he's not the only pro athlete who's given baseball a shot. NFL quarterback Russell Wilson is a star with the Seattle Seahawks, but during 2016 Major League spring training, he couldn't help but take the Texas Rangers up on the offer of working out with a team that owns his baseball rights.
Growing up as a little kid, I always dreamed of playing two sports, and I always played both. And just to be here and to have this opportunity, it's a gift from God, and I'm grateful to have this amazing opportunity. It's truly humbling just to be able to play with these guys, the big leaguers, and take grounders with them.
And although the differences between the two sports are obvious, for Wilson, there is one glaring similarity.
There's something special about throwing a touchdown. You know, it's so hard to get touchdowns, but hitting a home run's a good feeling too.
Wilson isn't the only NFL quarterback with a knack for baseball. Tom Brady was drafted by the Montreal Expos before playing college football. Colin Kaepernick was once drafted by the Chicago Cubs. Even Johnny Manziel was drafted by the San Diego Padres in 2014. It's not a new phenomenon to see NFL players double as baseballers when you consider two of the greatest two-sport athletes of all time did just that. Neon Deion Sanders is the only man to ever play in a World Series and a Super Bowl, winning two of the latter in consecutive seasons. And the original modern-day two-sport beast, Bo Jackson, was an all-star in both sports while with the LA Raiders and the Kansas City Royals. Still to come, the inspirational multi-sport man. You can crumble in the face of adversity, or you can let it fuel you to achieve the unthinkable. Such is the case for Italian race car driver Alex Zanardi. In a kart series race in Germany in 2001, Zanardi was involved in a brutal collision that severed both his legs and left him with just a liter of blood for 50 minutes as he was rushed to a local hospital unconscious and facing death. But his recovery has been nothing short of remarkable, having returned to racing just 18 months later using a modified car with special hand controls for the gas and the clutch.
My adventure may seem to be very, very particular, kind of heroic to a certain degree, but there's nothing heroical in my daily life. I only do what I know that I can do. At the end of the day, it is not your right foot that makes the decision when it's time to brake or when it's time to accelerate. Everything, it comes from here.
That mental strength has lent itself to Zanardi's other specialty sport, hand cycling. Picked up in 2007 to stay in shape, the hobby evolved into a second sport he's all but mastered, having become a Paralympic champion. Zanardi took home 2 gold medals and a silver at the London 2012 Paralympics and added 5 golds and a silver to the tally at the World Championships between the Games and 2014. He's even participated in the Ironman World Championships, ranking 19th out of 247 athletes in the 45 to 49-year category back in 2014. A sporting inspiration in Italy and beyond, there's one phrase his father told him as a child that keeps him going today. You have to work hard to turn your dreams into objectives that are potentially achievable, so take every day as an opportunity to add something to your life. They say the darker the night, the brighter the stars. And the darkest moment of Alex Zanardi's life refined him into the bright star that he is today. There are some athletes who are naturally gifted and take up 2 sports with ease. And there are some athletes who take up a second sport with the hopes of doing so with ease, but don't.
Muay Thai is not for him. He's too old and a bit too slow.
Regardless, hats off for trying. Because it's almost impossible to become a professional athlete, let alone be a professional athlete in more than one sport. And that is the truth.